What up guys, Astro Manny here, back at it again with another video. It's been a hot minute, but we're here, and 4.1.1 is out, and the Idris is out, and there is so much content, so much PvE content in this patch that we have to start making full-on videos for you guys, so you guys have all the information you need. So, it's been a minute since we made a video, YouTube, but we're here. That's why you got to come check by the live stream Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and other times. That's why you hit the notification bell and all those wonderful things. So hello guys, this is the Idris. Today we're doing the Idris tour, and I hope we can do it thorough and make it easy for you guys so no one ever gets lost in an Idris, you know what I mean? And have all the fun that you can have. So here we are in the Idris P with the K upgrade kit. I actually like the default skin more than any of the other skins. That's just my opinion. The shark skin is cool. Sure, the black and red one is cool. But this has a little bit of blue and yellow, and it gives it character, I think. So that is the dealio. So anyways, we're going to give you guys a full tour of the Idris here. That is the plan for this video. I'm going to try to keep it moving, but we're going to do it all in one shot, unedited, classic Astro Manny moves. Just because I haven't made a video in a long little while and have become more of a live streamer doesn't mean that the videos aren't going to change, or doesn't mean the videos are going to change. We're staying the same. We keep things uncut. We walk you through the whole thing. We do everything together because it's about us. It's always about us. I love you guys. I am also a little sick, so I apologize for the voice and all those wonderful things. Thanks for the cheer, my dude. We are in the middle of recording a video on a live stream. So remember, guys, like I said, come check out the live streams on Twitch and YouTube and stop by anytime and say hi. Much appreciated. So here we are in the Idris. We're going to start in the hangar, and we're going to go through everything for you guys. First off, we are in the Idris. It's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful ship it is. We'll go through and do a full top-down view of the ship in the very end and all that kind of stuff when we make it to the bridge and make it to the pilot seat. But we're going to do a thorough walkthrough of the whole thing. But we're going to try to make it fairly quickly. So here is our hangar bay. Right here is the heart of the ship. This is where, you know, this is what people love, how much room you have for ships and all kinds of crazy things to put in here. You and your org and friends can pile 15, 20 ships in here, as many as your heart desires. 100 Furies if you want to. Yes, you could probably fit 100 Furies up in here. Should we make a video on that? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know down in the comments below what things you want to see in the future as well. We have a lot of videos lined up for this week, so stay tuned for all that. So anyways, we're in the hangar. You have the ability to go to the right or the starboard side of the ship to go to the control room, okay? Or you can go to the left and go to the pilot ready room, the port side of the ship, okay? So you have starboard on the right, port side on the left. I normally go to the starboard side, the right side of the ship, because the control deck actually has stuff that has interactables in it that the flight ready room does not have. So I usually stick to the right side of the ship or the starboard side of the ship, and we're going to start off with the control room here to explain why. Here at the control room, these chairs have a little bit of interacting. You can open and close the hangar doors from these chairs. You don't even have to sit down to close and open them. So you can see that our back door is open because that's how we enter the ship. And I'm going to close the door by just pressing it there on the control panel without having to even sit down. So the control room is very versatile on that fact, as the hangar door begins to close in the back as we're trying to, it takes a little while, but there it is. You see, you don't even have to sit down in the chair to activate those, and that is a quick and easy way to open and close the front or the rear hangar door. Before we go up to the main deck, we're going to quickly just knock out the basement deck, the bottom deck, whatever you want to call it. There is 2 turrets on this bottom floor, and it's accessible through either side, starboard or port side, through this ladder. This is the Argo hangar that it will take you to. Okay. You have 2 turrets, one on this side of the ship right here as you go through, and one exactly in the same spot on the other side of the ship, down in the bottom layer of our said ship. This is the Argo hangar, where you should be able to attach an Argo to the top of the ceiling, but you cannot currently. So that is why you see our MPUVs in the actual hangar bay, because I don't want to bother using this little area because it doesn't function 100% correctly yet. You can open and close the door by using this panel behind the counter here, but again, I don't really mess with it too much because it doesn't work 100% as intended. Now, there's also a nice little cool gravity ball back here. This is where your quantum drive is located and whatnot. You got a nice little engineering section back here that opens up into, well, bam! Some people's favorite spot in the Idris is this nice little quantum drive maneuver thingamabobber, right? So, beautiful stuff. That's that. I don't know why I closed it. We can leave it open. It doesn't matter if it's open or closed. So that is it for the bottom of the ship. It's really simple, the bottom of the ship. You don't need to go here much unless you're a dedicated bottom turret player. So this is where you access the 2 bottom turrets. Like I said, you have one right here and then one exactly on the other side. Okay. So that is the bottom of your ship. Again, which side do you prefer? We came up the pilot ready room. I prefer to go up the right side of the ship. The starboard side of the ship is what I prefer to go up. Okay? It doesn't matter which one. It's just my preference. I like to go through the control room. The control room has buttons to press. The pilot ready room does not. So I just want to use the control room. Next, we'll go up to the main deck, which is where we'll spend most of our time in this video. This is the B deck, the main deck where mostly everything is. First off, we're going to start with the lines on the floor. If you are on the right side of the ship, the starboard side of the ship, the lines on the floor are going to be blue. First thing to mention when you're entering the Idris through the control room, this I want to just give you guys some solid advice in the beginning. If you're coming through the control room from the starboard side of the ship, the bridge is always going to be to the back, which is left, and the medbay or the nose turret is always going to be to the right, which is the front of the ship. Okay, so that's just basic knowledge. Is every time you come up and you're trying to go to the bridge, you're always going to take a left, and if you take this left right away, you're going to see bridge right on the ground, knowing you're going the correct way with an arrow. Okay, the best way to make your way through the ship is to read the signs on the roof and look at the colors on the ground. This is the mess hall. The mess hall is just a little community area of the ship, just like you would in normal other ships. It's a bigger cafeteria than you would at other ships, but you know, this is it. You could also go through the mess hall to the other side, and then boom, right there's the pilot ready room. And as you can see, the port side of the ship has brown covering on the ground. One benefit of the port side of the ship is when you come out of the freaking flight ready room, the bridge icon is right there on the floor telling you to take a right. Remember, we're backwards on the port side of the ship, so if you're coming from the flight ready room, you're always going to take a right to go to the bridge. But luckily you have a marker right here that tells you to take a right. The left will bring you to the front of the ship or the med bay. We're going to go back through and try to stay working in the same directions. In the mess hall, you can go to the bathroom area or you can lead to the crew quarters through the mess hall. And this is the only way to actually access the crew quarters, is you have to come through the mess hall. Well, I mean, there is another way to access it, but this is the main way to access the crew quarters, is through the mess hall. And here in the crew quarters, you have a bunch of different bunk beds for all the crew. Lots and lots of beds. And then you have a little bathroom section for everybody, the locker rooms and things like that, in this little spot here. As you go down the way through here, you will come to a special area for the pilots. The pilots get their special rooms. This is not the captain's quarters or the XO quarters. These are for the pilots of the ship. They get their own special little rooms because, you know, they're special, I guess, with the rest of the crew quarters here. And that's basically it. Over here, you have a connection, or not over here, sorry, I apologize. Over here, you have a connection to the captain's quarters through this bathroom, because this bathroom is actually a connection to the rest of the ship into the captain's quarters, but we'll go over that here in a minute. So what I said earlier is, yes, the only way to get to the crew quarters is through the mess hall. Before we go any further into the ship, we're going to mention the Mobiglas. Guys, there's a map on the top left of your screen to go through the entire ship. And you can also use waypoints if you use the map. You can use your map. Thought I pressed F2. And you get the whole thing of the ship here. And you can see the layout. You could filter out some of the other layers in the map. You can do lots of different things. You can put waypoints. Here's the bridge way up here. And we can put a waypoint by pressing R to put a waypoint. And apparently it wanted me to put it down here in the hangar. But the point is, you can use R to make a waypoint to wherever you're trying to go. So like if we're trying to get to the Medbay, which is over here, this room over here, we can make it thinks I'm trying to go to the first floor. Again, I don't use this very often, but there you go. You can put waypoints on your Mobiglas, and then you can see it on the top left of your screen there. All right, beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to take a right and go to the front of the ship, and that's what we're going to kind of do. So first up, as you take a right and we're going towards the front of the ship, you have the captain's quarters, which we kind of briefly went into here because it's connected to the bathroom that is connected to the mess hall. And yes, the captain's quarters are accessible now. You have the XO quarters and you have the captain's quarters. There's nothing really too special about these rooms. They're kind of just there. They don't have any, the captain's quarter doesn't have any actual display things like the Polaris does. So +1 towards the Polaris's captain room, and we'll see how things change in the future. But it's nice. It's a big, spacious area in the captain's room for sure, but it doesn't have a gun rack or a display case like said Polaris does. So I'm just gonna, mention that a little bit. It does have lockers and all that kind of cool stuff. But there you go. That is your captain's quarters. All right. As we go further towards the front of the ship, you will come to the docking collar, okay? The docking collar is one of the two places that you have these hamster tunnels that will take you from one side of the ship to the other. And as you read the signs on top of the Idris, as you go through all of the tunnels, as you go through the deck, they will always lead you in the right direction if you're reading the signs. This says port side, to go to the port side of the ship. If you were on the other side, it would say starboard side, because you're going to the starboard side of the ship if you go through the hamster tunnel. We're not going to go fully through, but there you go. Like I said, there's two hamster tunnels on the ship, one at the docking collar and one at the bridge. We'll go over that when we go to the bridge. Next, we're going to the Medbay, and this is just a little escape pod. Left that open earlier. Or a little maintenance shaft. Sorry, I apologize. It's a maintenance shaft. But yeah, that's for engineering gameplay in the future probably. Next up, as you can see, we have signs here. This is a little small cargo bay. I'm actually not 100% sure what this room is going to be used for. It's not very efficient to bring cargo in here. This is a cargo grid that I'm standing on. Maybe it's going to be implemented differently in the future, but this is a different cargo room. This is not the main cargo room. We'll show off the main cargo room in a little bit. Moving on further down, and you'll finally reach the med bay, which we talked about a little bit earlier. And then in the med bay, fully functional med bay, you have a medical office, and you have a room with 4 medical beds, and then a room with 1 medical bed. This is a really cool little area because you can assign yourself to any one of these beds for your respawn points. Really awesome, really helpful. These 4 beds in this room are tier 3 beds, meaning you can only cure tier 3 injuries in those beds. This one here is a tier 1 bed and could heal any injury in the game. Our first ship that has a tier 1 bed in it. Brief pause for a drink of water so that the voice stays okay. Apologize for that. Alright, moving on from the med bay. Then we just circle. Oh, we came out the wrong side. I apologize. Moving on from the med bay, we'll just circle around the ship here. In the front of the ship, you have some escape pods and the big main nose turret of the ship. This is the Idris P, not the Idris M, so it is size 5 guns on the turret, not size 7 guns on the turret. The difference between the Idris P and the Idris M is the Idris P has size 5 guns on the nose, but it also has size 5 guns on the back of the ship, which we will show a little bit later in the video as well. While the Idris M has size 7 guns on the nose, but doesn't have a back turret. Okay, so it's missing some gun power, but it gets the increased power to the nose. Just a brief little note of information there. So now we'll flip around to the brown side. As you can see, the port side is the brown side of the area. So you know you're on the port if the ground is brown. The port is brown. The starboard is blue. The left side of the ship, if you're looking forward, is brown. The right side of the ship is blue. And again, the docking collar here is your hamster tunnel and all that wonderful stuff. There's your captain quarters. We're going to go by all of this, and your mess hall and your pilot ready room. So now we're back at where we began, and here is your bridge notification. So we're going to take a right this time and go to the bridge. Next off, we are going to come up to the bridge itself, and here is the other hamster tunnel I talked about, so you can go through to the other side with no distractions or anything like that. There are 2 hamster tunnels in the ship, one at the bridge and one at the docking collars. Okay, we're not going to go into the bridge, but we're going to go to the brig. Okay, BBB, lots of B's there. Up to the bridge is that way, and up to the brig, or to the brig, is through here. This is where you hold your pesky little criminals. If you have some crewmates that are being disrespectful, you throw them in the brig. That's what you do with them. You put them in there and you put them to sleep. That's what you do. So it has 6 holding cells and all that. Over here, as you continue to flow through, you have some escape pods and a security room where you have cameras to watch the brig. I don't know if these security cameras work correctly, if you sit in the chair and power them on, if they work or not. Let me know down in the comments below if the brig cameras work correctly or not. I don't think they do currently, but I'm not going to bother to test that right now. So let me know down in the comments. Okay, so moving on, as you can see here, we came out through this area, which is a little bit past the bridge. Okay, we're gonna backtrack a little bit because this is the bridge that we came through, and we missed all of this back here. So we're gonna backtrack a little bit and stop here. This is the actual cargo bay. This is the big cargo bay room where you do all your cargo stuff. It has 2 elevators that go up and down. You can go up and down these elevators that take you to the hangar bay. We'll go down it real quick, or maybe not. We'll just drop it down real quick because that's time consuming. But as you see, it goes down to the hangar, kind of to the back, because remember we're nearing the back of the ship now. So that's where this will take you, and we'll be back on our way. This is the big main cargo room. Lots and lots of cargo space here. Again, it's maybe not necessarily the most efficient cargo ship, but if you are running a well-tuned crew, then it can be probably a lot of fun to maneuver and do a bunch of cargo through there. Moving forward, you have the elevator. We're not going to talk too much about the elevator. It's not very useful. It only goes here between the main deck and the bridge. If you want to use the elevator, it does, like I said, go between here and the bridge. That's about it. It's not very useful. It is just a way to get back and forth between the 2 sides of the ship. As you can see, here's the brown side, which is the port side, and then over here is the blue for the starboard side, right? So it is a nice little hole to get through the ship. Quick little mention is a nice little engineering shaft here, secret little tunnel in the back here, where you got some more fuses and probably some engineering gameplay in the future. Nice little things. There's also one on exactly the other side through the other part of the elevator. Exactly the same. It's mirrored all the way through, right? Next we have the engine room over here. This will be above the gravity ball that we saw earlier. Okay, it's a cool little room. It's very fancy. A little fancy engine room. You can only access this room from the port side. There is no entry on the starboard side. Here's a little computer that will be used in the future for engineering probably. Like I said, you could only access this room through the port side, the left side of the ship. There. Moving on even further, this is again the escape pods where we came out of a little bit earlier. Another little maintenance shaft or relay access. Yeah. Or that's the relay access there. Little maintenance shaft thingy. Okay. And then now we're coming around to the back of the ship, the aft of the ship, where you have a briefing room. This briefing room really doesn't do anything at the moment, but it is really cool for RP and having your crew come into the briefing room and have a meeting. This is new as well. This little hologram of the whole ship. It's pretty cool to look at. It's kind of in the way, to be honest. If a person was giving a lecture or a briefing, they would have to stand pretty close to not be on top of the hologram. So that's something to think about in the future. This kind of hologram is taking up all the room in the briefing room, but it is pretty cool. And that's the briefing room. And again, here in the back, you have your aft turret. That is kind of a bottom aft turret. It's kind of midship, but it's at the bottom. Like it rests underneath a little lip, right? So it's a bottom aft turret. The Idris M does not have this turret. Remember, this is only for the Idris P and the K/T upgrade kits. So this is for the P. The Idris M does not have this. Speaking of turrets, all the turrets on the Idris have no gimbals. Just a fair warning to let everyone know that there is no gimbals at all on any of the turrets on the Idris. Therefore, making turret gameplay a little difficult for people who are not used to firing turrets without gimbals. And to be honest, it's not about not being used to firing gimbals. It's the gimbals help you be better. If you're in a turret, you want gimbals, and it's just a little sad that there's no way possible, at my current knowledge, let me know down in the comments below if you've figured out a secret way of doing it, to add gimbals to the turrets, because we have not figured it out. We're back on the starboard side of the ship. As you can see, it is blue now. Back on the starboard side of the ship. We're going to go through this escape pod room that is going to take us to the Armory. On the port side, you had the Brig, the prison cells. On the starboard side, you have the Armory and a shooting range. So there's a nice shooting range and a huge armory here with tons and tons and tons of gun racks and a cool little shooting range on the starboard side. So all this stuff is accessible to put guns in. It's very nice. When we get suit lockers, it'll be really cool. All this stuff, this is one of the coolest parts of the ship, in my opinion. You also get a small little window to the outside. Look, there's the outside. Crazy. We haven't seen that in a hot minute. The outside. And then here we are back at the entrance to the bridge, which is the final stop on the ship, is the bridge. So here we go, going up to the top floor. Not the top floor just yet, because we're going to stop here and show the turrets. These are turrets right here, right before you enter the bridge. There is 2 turrets on both sides of the bridge. On both the starboard and the port side, there are 2 turrets each on this mid-floor of the bridge. This is the 3rd floor of the ship, and this is where you will access probably the main guns of the ship. This is the main guns of the ship for most people, and there's 2 here and 2 on the port side, like I said. Now we'll enter the final staircase and get to the bridge of the Idris. Entering the bridge and all its beautiful glory, as you can see the elevator there and the entryway down to the main deck on the port side. Before we go up to the command deck, we will stay here in the little area where you can access remote turrets. These 4 chairs will access remote turrets on the ship, and we'll go over the placements of all the turrets in just a moment. But these are the front remote turrets, and the back ones are the back remote turrets. And as you guessed it, this is the port side one, or the starboard side one, I apologize. This is the port side one, and vice versa. That is the placement of the seats, is the placement of the turret. Now, these back turrets are not very good visuals, but they're still pretty useful in their own right. But yeah, those are our turrets. That's all the turrets. So there is a total of 12 turrets on the Idris P. There's 11 turrets on the Idris M, but there's 12 turrets on the Idris P. 2 down there, 2 down there, 4 right here. So there's a total of 8 turrets basically right on the bridge of the Idris. Okay? Then you have the front bow turret and the back aft turret, and then you have the 2 bottom turrets we showed you in the very beginning of the video. Finally, you come up to the command deck of the ship. A lot of these seats don't really do much. There's some camera access in some of these seats, which are actually very good spotting cameras. Some of the best seats in the house for spotting and helping out the pilot of the ship is in these seats, to use the camera that is at the very top of the bridge. And so if you do have extra crew members, I do recommend people to use the camera seat. Okay? Then you have your captain's seat and your pilot seat and your co-pilot seat in all the glory of itself. Remember, the pilot is the one who shoots the main gun. The co-pilot is really just a co-pilot on this ship. It's not very helpful in a lot of ways, which is a little sad. I wish they implemented more things for the co-pilot to do, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. The co-pilot can fly the ship though. So if you have a co-pilot and a pilot and the pilot gets out of his seat, the co-pilot can fly the ship without switching seats. So that's wonderful and beautiful in its own right as well. I think I've covered everything. We're going to briefly get into the seat here and showcase the ship. But I think we covered everything. I am live streaming. Chat, did I miss anything? Here is our camera at the top. Okay. Remember I mentioned the camera seats. There is a camera at the top of the Idris here. You can see it. So the cameraman can use that camera on the top, and it's very good at spotting. Like I said, there are 4 turrets on the very top of the Idris near the bridge, and then the 4 remote turrets. There's one here, right here. That's the front port side turret. Then you have the front starboard remote turret. Okay. And then you have your back remote turrets, which are kind of hidden. This is why we talk about them not being the greatest. Let's see if we can get a good shot on them. Are they like hidden in the back here somewhere? Oh, here we go. Here we go. So you see that? They're kind of hidden by the engine there on the bottom there. There's one right there near the left engine, and then there's one over here on the right engine. So those are a little wonky in their firing range, but they're pretty good at fighting people that are behind you, right? And then there's your back turret, and of course your front turret at the very front. That one's kind of hard to miss, right? And then your big old laser beam. And then there's the PDCs all across the ship. But that is your tour of the Idris. We showed you how to use the Mobiglas. We showed you all around the ship. We covered everything. I think that does it. That is going to be our first Astro Manning video in quite some time. And like I said, don't worry, this whole week we're going to be making a bunch of different videos lined up. I have how to farm Ace Pilot helmets, the best way to farm Ace Pilot helmets coming after this video. And then we're going to do patrols and ambush guides. And we're going to do ship builds, Gladius builds, Hornet builds, the new meta shields, all that stuff. We're going to talk about the new meta builds, the Saber builds, the new meta Saber builds, the new meta Talon builds. We're going to go through all that stuff and make a bunch of videos for you guys and all those lovely things. But until then, that is the end of this video. The Idris tour. If you don't have an org or you don't have friends to play with, come stop by the Astro Mercenaries, come stop by the live stream anytime. Check out the Discord down in the description. The org information is down in the description as well. Come stop by the live streams anytime. Hit that notification bell so you know when we're live. We're here. We'd love to have you. Come play with us. Come crew the Idris. Come fly the Idris. Whatever your heart desires, we're here for you. Thank you guys. You guys are such a loving community. I appreciate you guys, and I've been slacking on YouTube videos, but we're going to bring them back a little bit. We're not going to do every single day YouTube videos like I normally do, but we're going to make sure that we get you guys taken care of, because we'll never forget about where we started on YouTube. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. This is Astro Manny signing off on this YouTube video and getting back to the live stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Toodaloo.